Let me proceed to Comrade Mike to say something. His hand is up. Yes, please, Comrade Mike, you can unmute yourself, please.
Aha! You've let my mouth out of the cage. That could be a dangerous thing. I'm warning you all. Dr. Lina, I'm going to take the baton from you and continue your message, your passionate message. I love the idea of the 3 A's, the academics, education, the arts, creativity, thinking differently, thinking, as they say, outside of the box, thinking outside of the restraints, and the athletics. Arts and athletics are international. Those who are artists, who are musicians, those who are sculptors, painters, drawers, that also can be taken internationally. You can go to galleries outside of Uganda. There's people who appreciate art, in Uganda, in Africa, and all over the world. Athletics, right now we're seeing the Olympics. It's an international event. So the gentleman who medaled second and third place in the 10,000 meters race got international attention all over the world. Now, they don't have to be political, but the pride and that Ugandans all over the world, just from seeing the flag and from seeing their fellow countrymen, can help stimulate conversations with neighbors, with people at work. Just saying, did you see Ugandans who were on the podium accepting their medals? I'm really hoping that we've got a strong contender in the marathon, because in 2012, when the Olympics were in London, Stephen Kirkpatrick won the marathon. And the marathon is traditionally the last event of the Olympics. It gets a lot of attention. It's the last medal event. And in 2012, it was a Ugandan who stood at the top of the podium. And that can generate a lot of attention and stimulate a lot of conversation. So we have academics, we have arts, we have athletics. If I may be so bold, Dr. Lina, I'd like to add a letter. I will add E for employment, because primarily what I see is when young people are leaving Uganda, it's for employment, it's for the desire to be employed, the desire to earn a living, the desire just to put food in their bellies, to help their family, whether it's pay school fees, to help support a business. They're seeking employment. And we know that job creation is a cause. We need to take these discussions away from personalities, away from just, we don't like Museveni, but we need to take up causes. So whether they're, we've got poor leadership and it shows because of the environment. We've got poor leadership and it shows because of the infrastructure, potholes in the roads. We've got poor leadership because of lack of jobs, lack of employment. So that can be a cause that can be taken up. And from my travels and my experiences in Uganda, I've seen this progression of migration of Ugandan youth. And I love getting outside of Kampala. I love going outside of urban areas into the rural areas, to try and understand what the needs are in rural areas. And I've seen this progression of the youth of Uganda migrating from their villages where they don't see a future, they don't see employment, they don't see a way to support their families, because they're encouraged, you need to earn a living because eventually you're going to marry. A woman is not going to want to marry a poor village boy. How are you going to support your children? So there's been false promises made to lure them to the cities, to lure them to Kampala, to lure them as boda drivers, to lure them as all these possibilities in the city. And they've been lied to. So now we have overpopulation of the city and lack of services in the city. We've got traffic jams in the city. So that is now developed into a whole nother problem of overpopulation of urban areas. Well, then they go to the city, and after a while they realize they've been lied to, and there's no opportunities in the city. So what is their next move? Somebody's making them false promises to say the opportunities aren't in Uganda, they're in the UAE, they're in Kuwait, they're in Saudi. You have to leave Uganda to earn a living. That's a lie too. It's a lie. So what we need to do is develop programs, and this is my opinion, Dr. Lina, you please tell me if I'm wrong, but we need to encourage and have programs developed to create jobs in rural areas, whether they're agribusiness, whether they're cottage industries, even technology, because with technology today, you can get access to the internet and you can do all kinds of technical things from maybe a village center that has access to the internet, and you have computers and cell phones. Those things can be done in the villages as well as they can be done in the cities, as well as they can be done sitting in Dubai. So let's try and encourage those who are in rural areas to stay in the rural areas by providing them a means to make a living, to earn a living, and to get a job, and to see that they have a future staying in the village. For those who are in urban areas, we need to develop those programs in the cities, develop jobs, create jobs in the cities, so that at least they stay in the country, and the tax base is staying in the country, and the money is staying in the country, so that they don't flee to other countries. So, again, if I may be so bold, Dr. Lina, to say, let's also add employment to that, because what I see, especially with we'll say child sponsorship programs that a lot of NGOs do, they preach education. They preach the importance of an education. All over the world, people preach that. And I believe in that too. But what happens when you educate a young person and they do what they're told, and they get their primary education, they get their secondary education, and the bright ones are able to go to university, and they do everything they're told, and they dedicate their lives to education, and then there's no jobs. So then you have a very angry population, because they've done everything they've told, they've gotten an education, and now they're sitting on the street with no job, and they're told the only job is to sweep the sidewalks and to accept nothing for payment.
As you prepare to wind up, Comrade Michael.
Yes, so let's also remind that we need to provide these young people a way to earn a living and jobs, so that they are not leaving the homeland. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Comrade Michael. Dr. Lina, please, could I ask you to just give your thoughts, just a quick reflection on what Michael Kirkpatrick said with regards to employment, the additional E to your 3A's strategy. Your initial, I understand you might not have everything, but just your initial reactions, and then we'll move on to the next speaker. Over to you, Dr. Lina.
So much, David. Thank you so much, Michael or team. I bring you greetings from northern Uganda. I was in Atiak the other day. When we talk about the theme of today holistically, that is all my children and grandchildren imprisoned, enslaved, tortured, denied employment. Well, I absolutely agree with you, team, that we need to add the E, and I had already put it in the chat because I knew other people also needed to be given the opportunity to speak. Absolutely, I agree, and we are going to add that. It's actually in our manifesto as the National Unity Platform Party. It's in our manifesto, and the 55, when we extracted that, of course, we could not get the space and the platform to be, sharing these very beautiful plans and commitments to the citizens of Uganda. You saw it. So we will definitely add that E, and not only add the E, but gainful employment. And I believe it's very, very deliberate. And when we talk about employment per se, it is so massive to the extent after the election, the unemployment, the desperation of the youth was even used to lure them. The NRM and the military junta decided in Kitgum to send, to call out to some youth and say, we are going to pay you since NUP did not pay you people if you are a polling agent and stuff. They were locked in a guest house and immediately declared the rebels. We had to go, we had to run to Kitgum from Gulu with those of Obedigu, and they are using this as a bait, and it is very deliberate. So definitely deconstructing that using the 4H, the head, the mindset, the skills, the heart, how our hearts are so broken, and then even our health. So we need to be looking at that, and for sure also focusing on retrieving our stolen victory, because by now our commitment as National Unity Platform Party, if we had not been robbed our victory, there would have been already change in the status of unemployment. Of course, it's the youth that are in charge of it. We definitely thank you so much for that addition, and I will also be bringing it to the policy team, and I will also be, sharing that out when we are talking about the 3 A's plus E. It is now the 3 A's plus E: athletics, academics, arts, and employment. So I want to thank you so much, and let that be our focus. Let that be our message of hope, even when we are sharing this. And of course, the prisons. I was there when those of Nubian Lee and the team were released. The stories are very horrific. And all those in prison are youths from as young as 12 years old to the eldest being 35. And they have nowhere to sleep. They have nowhere to, you sleep body to body, okay? In all the prisons. And then the safe houses. And then the youth are also the target in this militarized response to COVID. So absolutely the situation is as if there is a conspiracy to totally eliminate all the youth in Uganda, and therefore also Africa. So we have to redeem it, or at least die trying to redeem it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lina.